For years, let's be honest, the Punjab Kings auction strategy felt a lot like chaos. But not anymore. Today, we're diving into the calculated, precise master plan that has totally transformed them from perennial underachievers into one of the smartest teams heading into the 2026 auction. Let's get right into it. It's the question that's really haunted this franchise for what feels like forever. How do you finally break that cycle of constant resets and frantic overhauls? Well, the amazing thing is, heading into this auction, Punjab isn't operating from a place of desperation. They're operating from a place of incredible strength. So, what's their secret? Well, it all boils down to one simple but seriously powerful idea: clarity. The franchise has finally figured out who they are. And that clear identity, it's the foundation for their entire auction strategy. They're not searching for a new direction anymore. They're just perfecting the one they've already got. Okay, so let's start right there with that fundamental transformation. This first part is all about that massive, dramatic shift in how Punjab Kings see themselves and how they build their team. This quote just nails it, doesn't it? They're not tearing anything down. They're not starting from scratch. They're simply adding the final, precise pieces to a machine that almost went all the way last season. It's about finishing the job. And this contrast really says it all. The old PBKS, totally reactive, always making these desperate moves, chasing the next big shiny name. The new PBKS is a completely different animal. They're structured, they're confident, and they're obsessed with finding the right fit, not just the flashy signing. All that clarity leads us directly to our second point, this incredibly stable foundation they've built. The reason they can be so surgical at the auction is because, for pretty much the first time ever, most of the hard work is already done. Just look at that number, 21. For a team that used to be known for blowing up its squad and starting over every single year, retaining 21 players isn't just a statement, it's a full-blown revolution. This is a level of continuity that was just unthinkable for the old Punjab Kings. And listen, it's not just about the number of players, it's the quality of that core. They have locked in the entire spine of their team. You've got a title-winning captain in Shreyas Iyer, a brilliant death bowler in Arshdeep, a spin wizard in Chahal, and that fearless Indian batting unit that got them all the way to the final. This right here is the bedrock of their newfound confidence. So you might be thinking, if the team is so strong, why even bother with the auction? And that brings us to our third section. Because that loss in the 2025 final, it wasn't a failure. It was the last piece of the puzzle. It was the crucial bit of data that showed them exactly what they were missing. This is the key question that the team management had to ask themselves. They absolutely dominated the league stage, but when the pressure of the final was at its absolute peak, a couple of tiny but critical flaws got exposed. And here they are, the two very specific things that the final showed them. First, they were a little too reliant on their brilliant, but still uncapped Indian batters. Guys who hadn't played for the national team yet and maybe just lacked that big game experience. And second, beyond the genius of Chahal, they had no other experienced spinner to control the game. See, these aren't huge failures. They're just the final missing pieces. And when you know exactly what your weaknesses are, your plan for the auction becomes crystal clear. It's surgical, it's ruthless, and there is zero guesswork involved. Because that final lick gave them all the answers they could ever need. But before they could add anyone, they had to subtract. And this is where you can really see the influence of their coach, Ricky Ponting. The player releases were driven by this new ruthlessness, not to save a bit of cash, but to make sure every single player in that squad had a clear, well-defined role. I mean, releasing Glenn Maxwell, that is the ultimate example of this new philosophy. A true superstar of the game, let go after a season where he just didn't deliver. It's a massive, massive statement of intent from this franchise. And this is what everyone's calling the Ponting Doctrine. It's the principle that guided all their decisions. Your reputation can't outweigh your current form or your clarity of role. What you did in the past doesn't matter if you don't fit the team's precise needs today. Simple as that. So this is their shopping list. And it's a direct response to those lessons from the final. An experienced keeper-batter to guide that middle order. An explosive finisher to take the pressure off the young guys. And, critically, another quality spinner to support Chahal. This isn't just a wish list, it is a targeted, strategic plan. So they have the plan. Now comes the final piece of the puzzle: execution. This last part is all about how they're going to stay disciplined at the auction table to finally complete this machine they've been building. Now, this is really cool and something you almost never see. The captain, Shreyas Iyer, will be sitting at the auction table himself. It's such a clear sign of the incredible trust the franchise has in his vision. This isn't some strategy being handed down from management. It's a cohesive, captain-led mission. With only 11.50 crore rupees to spend, you might think they're at a disadvantage. But for this new Punjab Kings, it's actually a strength. You see, a limited purse forces discipline. Every single rupee has to be justified, which leaves absolutely no room for those emotional impulse buys that defined their past auctions. And that's exactly why they're playing a completely different game at this auction. While other teams are scrambling around doing major structural repairs, Punjab Kings are just fine-tuning a high-performance engine. They can afford to walk away from a bidding war because they don't need any single player. They just need the right piece for the right price. Ultimately, it all just comes down to this simple truth. This auction isn't another new beginning for the Punjab Kings. For the first time in a long, long time, it's about finishing what they started and turning all of that potential into a long-awaited championship.